Hey, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. Today we will discuss different cloud migration strategies. I am Suvarna Jadhav, working with Cloud.in as a strategic partnership and alliance manager. For today's session, we have Ms. Rutuja Uppin and Mr. Vishal More as a speaker who will walk us through the benefits of migration and types of cloud migration and a customer use case. Rutuja is working as a cloud consultant and Vishal is working as a cloud solution architect at Cloud.in. As a part of a solution architect team, both have expertise in delivering solutions by empowering AWS best practices, leveraging the wide range of available AWS services. We'll keep this session interactive. We'll keep last 10-15 minutes for question and answer. Feel free to post your questions in Q&A section. We'll address all the questions at the end of the session. Welcome Rutuja, welcome Vishal. I will request Rutuja to start the session. Over to you, Rutuja.
Thank you, Suvarna. Hi everyone. My name is Rutuja, and as we all know, we are conducting a webinar today for cloud migration and its strategies. In simple words, moving your data from on-premises data center to cloud is called cloud migration. Let us first start with the session's agenda. And today we will be covering firstly with the introduction. Here we have a definition of cloud migration, importance of cloud migration, objectives of the presentation. Following this, we will be seeing the benefits that we acquire by opting cloud migration, which are cost savings, scalability, flexibility, security, and accessibility. Following this, we have types of cloud migration, which are rehosting, replatforming, refactoring, re-architecting, repurchasing, and retaining. We will have a brief introduction and brief detailing about all the types. And after this, we will be seeing the steps that we should follow for cloud migration, which are assessment and planning, data migration, application migration, testing, and validation. And lastly, we will be seeing a use case that will be a brief about a case study of a successful cloud migration to AWS. So moving forward, let us first understand what is cloud migration. Cloud migration refers to the process of moving an organization's data, its applications, and other business elements from on-premises infrastructure to a cloud-based environment. So this process involves basically transferring the data and the applications from the physical servers or data centers, which is also called as on-premises infrastructure of a company, to a virtual server in a cloud, which is often provided by a cloud service provider. So we have number of cloud service providers right now in the market. Famous ones are the AWS cloud, Azure, Microsoft Azure, and even GCP, that is Google Cloud. So basically, cloud migration is moving a company's digital business operations into cloud. Cloud migration is a sort of physical move, except here it involves moving data, the application and IT processes from some data centers to a cloud, instead of like packing up and moving the physical goods, which we see live in day-to-day life. But it's just like it's virtually in cloud migration. So cloud migration is primarily aimed at leveraging the advantages of cloud computing, which include the increased scalability, as in the automatically it upscales or downscales your resources which you are using in a specific cloud according to your workload. It gives you reduced costs, wherein cloud asks you to only pay for like whatever you use, and how much you use, you have to pay only for that. And it also gives you improved flexibility to add or remove the resources according to your workload. So there's a lot of flexibility in cloud. You can even access it wherever, anywhere, with just an internet connection. And it is super flexible and scalable also. So the ultimate goal is to enable organizations to scale their resources as needed, optimize their IT spending, and increase their operational agility by moving their data and applications to a cloud-based environment. So the overall main advantage of moving to cloud is that you will have time to focus more on your business values, more on your business growth, rather than focusing on maintaining and managing your infrastructure or whatever sort of that. So like your cloud service provider will manage and look after all your data and the security and the scalability factors if your workload increases or decreases. That will be completely managed by the cloud service provider, and you have to just focus on your business growth and your marketing for your business. So these are the major benefits that you get by cloud migration. Further, we will look in depth about the benefits, major benefits that we get by opting a cloud migration. So firstly, we have scalability. So in scalability, cloud computing allows organizations to scale their resources up or down as needed. As I said before, you can upscale, and the cloud upscales or downscales for you according to your workload, making it easier to respond to the changes in demand and usage patterns. This can result in cost savings and greater operational efficiency. So next comes the very major uh, aspect, or a very major thing in businesses, which every business looks out for, is cost savings. So while migrating to the cloud, it helps you reduce hardware and infrastructure costs. So like before, in traditional infrastructures wherein you had to purchase data, I mean you had to purchase resources, you didn't know your workload or anything, and you had to purchase them, and you had to give a lump sum amount. You didn't know you didn't have any idea of your workload, so you had to purchase those, and if it is overutilized, then you had to purchase another set of that much of the resource, and if it is underutilized, then it's like kind of a waste of money. But over here, the cloud provides you with cost savings as well as the expenses associated with maintaining and managing on-premises systems. So cloud computing offers a very major advantage which you can avail of, which is a pay-as-you-go pricing model, which means that organizations only pay for what they use. So as much as workload is there of yours is there on cloud, you only pay for that, and which is a great advantage for even huge companies with large workloads, and even smaller companies. Uh, yeah. So moving on, we have another major advantage, which is flexibility. So cloud migration enables organizations to quickly and easily add or remove resources, applications, and services as needed, providing greater flexibility and agility in responding to business needs. So flexibility describes wherein cloud provides you access and the flexibility of change in your cloud environment. You can add easily you can add resources, whichever resources you need, because obviously you have no idea of your workload. If you get a lot of workload at a moment and then you need resources, so you can immediately add with ease of the flexibility that cloud provides. Or even you can remove the resources which are not in use actually. So even that is a very flexible task, which is easily done in cloud environments rather than the on-premises infrastructure like before. So the next in line we have is the security aspect, which is also a very major factor which businesses look out for a successful running business. So cloud also provides cloud provides you typically advanced security features, including encryption, firewalls, and access controls, which can help organizations improve the overall security posture and reduce the risk of data breaches and other security incidents. So basically, it refers to the discipline and practice of protecting your cloud computing environment, application data, and information. So cloud, it secures your environment against unauthorized usage or access distributed denial of service, that is DDoS attacks or hackers or malware and other risks. The most in-demand resources offered by AWS. We can say are the GuardDuty, AWS Shield, the Web Application Firewall, that is WAF. These help you protect your infrastructure. Basically, if you're on AWS, these are like the major in-demand services that it provides to secure your infrastructure. And lastly, we have accessibility. Herein, with cloud computing, employees can access data and applications from anywhere with an internet connection. With just an internet connection, you can access your infrastructure and make changes, which is very smooth, and providing greater mobility and flexibility, as I said before, in how and where work gets done. So in simple terms, accessibility provides flexibility by accommodating the needs of each user and is aimed at making the system suitable for widest number of users. So I would like to give you an example. As I've studied AWS cloud, so there is a service named IAM, which is Identity Access Management, which allows you to give access to only the authorized person. So like you can create roles and create groups with users in it and assign policies to that groups or assign policy to a specific role. So which becomes easy and safe also, as in you assign a policy and authority to the specific person wherein you don't have number of users accessing your account or a specific resource wherein you can secure the resource also. So these were like the 5 main core factors of or maybe called as benefits that you can avail of when you move into cloud. And so yes, these were the 5 major benefits of that a company needs to run a successful business. And so cloud migration becomes a very beneficial and in-demand process for organizations to avail in the market nowadays. And now I would like hand over the session to Vishal so that he gives you a brief idea in detail, in-depth idea of the migration strategies and phases.
Yeah. Thanks, Rutuja. Thanks for the brief intro. Hi all. My name is Vishal, and I work at Cloud.in as a solution architect for more than 1.5 years now. So today we are here to talk about cloud migration, which is one of the most important and the transformative projects your organization can undertake. Okay. So talking about migration. So what is the first, first sentence, or what is the meaning that comes to our mind when we talk about migration? Is that moving from one point to another point to suffice our needs, right? So when we add cloud to it, it is not just about moving from one point to another, but it's about rethinking and redesigning your entire IT infrastructure and operations with the goal of achieving greater scalability, flexibility, and cost savings, as Rituja mentioned. Okay. So at the same time, cloud migration can also be a complex and challenging process. It requires a careful planning, execution, and management. I mean, that is why it's important to have a clear understanding first, and then go to the migration approach. Right. So in this presentation, I will share you with some key insights and best practices that I have learned from working with numerous clients, or on the migration projects that I handled. Whether you are just starting to consider a migration, or you are already in the midset of one, I hope this presentation will provide you with the valuable information and guidance that can help you achieve a successful migration. Right. So thank you for your attention again, and let's get started. So when it comes to migration, there are 6 strategies, or 6 strategies with 6 R's that are predefined. So this is according to the AWS white paper. These are the 6 strategies that mainly focuses on the migration from on-premise to cloud, or even from one cloud to another cloud. Okay. So the 6R strategy is generally a framework for cloud migration, which helps to which helps a business to evaluate which application to move to the cloud and how to move them. So we'll go one by one and we'll see what each of these R stands for and what do they define. Okay. Starting with rehosting. So rehosting is the approach where applications are moved from on-premise to cloud with minimal changes. So this involves replicating of the existing server infrastructure and including the operating system, application code, and data. So uh, this is a quick and low risk approach basically, but it may take full advantage of cloud native features and services, and it can also require some refactorization as well. Next, we have replatforming. I mean, in this process, applications are optimized for the cloud by moving them to a cloud-specific platform, such as a PaaS offering. If you have heard of such terms like PaaS, SaaS, so PaaS is termed as platform as a service, or you can also term it as a managed service. Okay, so this can reduce infrastructure cost and simplify maintenance, but it may require changes to the application architecture and code to fit with the new platform. So when you're trying to re-platform it, there might be some minor code level changes that you have to do with your application. So re-platforming can also involve replacing existing middleware or database with cloud native equivalents. For example, if you are if you're using simple standard SQL database, and if you are planning to move to cloud with a managed service, so there is that re-platforming element, or that change that you have to do. And that can further optimize performance and reduce cost as well, because managed services are mostly helpful in that way. Next is repurchase or replace. Like in this approach, where applications are replaced with the commercial off-the-shelf cost or software. Also as a, I mean, this is also termed as a SaaS offering that provides the same or similar functionality. This can save time and effort in development and maintenance, but it may require changes to business process or workflows to fit in the new software. Okay, so this approach is typically used for applications that are not mission critical, or do not provide a competitive advantage. Next, we have refactoring. In this process, applications are modified to take advantage of cloud native features such as services uh, for computing and containerization and modernization. So this can lead to improved performance and scalability, but it also requires more effort and investment in development and testing, as you are refactoring your whole application. So let's say if you are hosting an application which is monolithic nature, and when you're planning to move to cloud, and you plan it to modernize it, or do some containerization around it, so it might involve some development and testing. Also, refactoring can also involve breaking down of monolithic applications, as I told before, and it makes it easier to manage and update the long term. Next in the line is retain and retire basically. So in this process, applications are either kept in the current state or retired if they are no longer needed. So this can simplify the migration process and reduce cost, but it may require additional effort to identify which application can be retired, or which are still needed. So retiring applications can also require data archiving and compliance considerations. Right. So these are some, this is the migration approach that that is generally followed when you plan to move to cloud. This is the phase-wise migration approach. So let's go phase-wise. Starts with the assessment phase, also known as assess phase. So the first step in the cloud migration, and is that to assess the organization's existing IT infrastructure and application to determine which systems can be migrated to the cloud, and how to optimize them for the cloud environment. So analyzing what applications can be migrated, what have dependencies, so that comes under this part. And this step also involves reviving existing applications and systems and analyzing performance and security requirements as well. Next, it goes to design and build. Once assessment is done, then a design and build phase comes to the picture. And in this step, the organization will design and build the cloud architecture and environment that will be used to host the migrated application or the application that is to be migrated. This step involves selecting the appropriate cloud service provider, choosing the route, cloud services and features, and designing the cloud infrastructure, security, and networking and components. So basically, designing the whole infrastructure out, basically architecting it. So after architecting and after finalizing the design and flow, then comes the configure and validate phase. Right. So once the cloud environment has been designed and built, the organization will configure the cloud resources. They'll set up the nodes and security and networking, and then validate the environment to ensure that it is ready to receive migrated applications and systems. I mean, this step is involves, I mean, a lot of testing and what we can say, it is a setup approach where user accounts are set and all made sure that all systems are properly integrated and configured. Right. Now comes the phase where actual execution happens, the plan execution phase, where organization will plan the migration of application and systems to the cloud environment. So this involves developing of migration plan, scheduling the migration, and testing the migration process. This step is quite critical to ensure that the migration is performed efficiently and with minimal disruptions to the organization operations. All migration planning is done, how the deployment will be done, at what time it will be done. It will be done in non-business hours, and what would be the downtime. So uh, all these points are considered when they are in the execution, up in the plan execution phase. And the last one is managed services phase. This is the post migration service phase, where once the migration is complete, the organization will need to manage and maintain the cloud environment, and they'll ensure that it is performing optimally and meeting all the business requirements. And this step involves monitoring and optimizing the environment, managing security, and assess the providing the ongoing support to end users. It may also involve engaging with managed service providers, MSPs, to ensure that the cloud environment is fully supported and maintained over time. Right. Uh, yeah. So these are the phases of migrations. Each phase consists of a very critical elements and some checklist or some points that need to be ensured before moving on to each phase. So pre-migration phase involves activities that are necessary before the actual migration process begins. So it includes analyzing the existing IT infrastructure and applications, and assessing security and compliance requirements for the cloud, and selecting the cloud service provider, determining the best cloud solution and organization needs. What should be the configurations, and which cloud is appropriate to carry out the business needs. Then estimating cost and developing a budget for the migration project, and developing the migration plan, developing the environment to validate the migration plan, right? So these are few points that come under the pre-migration phase. It's you can call it a pre-PEP phase. Next one is the migration phase. This phase involves actual migration of data, so applications and systems that are to be migrated to cloud, and all these activities come under this phase. So replication of data to the cloud environment, provisioning cloud resources, and setting up the security and network components, setting the firewalls and rules for the appropriate users, configuring and installing applications, and migrating database files and other data. That comes under this phase. And a minimal amount of testing and testing is also done to make sure that all components are functioning properly. Next, we have a quality assurance phase, which involves that the migrated applications and systems are performing as expected and meeting the business requirements. So this phase involves conducting system and performance testing and verification of migrated data, checking that all necessary features and functions are working as expected, and conducting security and compliance tests. These are these are activities are performed within the quality assurance phase. And lastly, post migration phase, uh, which in which you have to manage and maintain the cloud environment after migration. And this includes monitoring and managing the cloud environment, providing end user support to address any issue if you are having any connectivity issues or downtime issues, and conducting ongoing security and compliance tests. Engaging with the MSPs to provide ongoing support if you want to do some new deployment, or if you want to do some tweaks in the what we can say resource configuration. So that all comes in the post migration phase. Right. So lastly, we will see a use case, a customer use case basically, which successfully migrated to AWS cloud, and we'll see what challenges it's facing first and why it decided to move to cloud. Okay. So this case is about Expedia. If you are not aware of Expedia, so Expedia is an online travel company that operates a number of booking websites. They have their subdomains named under hotels.com, Hotwire, and many others. So Expedia provides travel booking services for flights, hotels, car rentals, cruises, and etc. Okay. So the main challenge that Expedia faced was, they were running a large portion of the business critical application on a legacy on-premise infrastructure. So it was very difficult to scale, manage, and maintain. And as Rutuja earlier mentioned, it is it is not a very cost-effective solution when scalability and flexibility is required. So the company needed like a more of a scalable and flexible infrastructure that could support the global operations and the growing data processing and storage needs that comes day by day. Like every day, the you have new users, the data grows. So to manage all this, they needed a solution. So the solution was like Expedia worked on with the AWS team to migrate its on-premise infrastructure to the cloud, and the migration involved moving like from more than 80% of the Expedia's core technology stack, which includes servers and all their data and mobile application data to cloud. So the migration was completed in phases, and with each application tested and validated before being moved to cloud. So they firstly they set up the testing environment where they tested out the application functionality, and then they pushed it to the production. And like what benefits they got into this is like uh, increased stability, where the company was able to scale its resources up and down as needed with the auto scaling functionality that is offered by AWS, and which allowed it to handle large and complex data processing and storage requirements, right? So cost saving is one important thing, where by moving to the cloud, Expedia was able to reduce the infrastructure cost as well as the cost associated with maintenance and managing on-premise hardware. And one is improved agility, where cloud-based infrastructure provided the company with even more greater flexibility in responding to changing business needs, allowing it to innovate and move quickly to the customer demands. And of course, security is one of the aspect where AWS provided advanced security features such as WAF, Shield, where these are the security offerings from AWS, which includes encryption, firewalls, and access controls. And it improved its overall security posture and reduced the risk of data breaches and security incidents such as DDoS attacks and all. So overall, the migration, migration to the AWS allowed Expedia to improve its IT operations and support its global expansion initiatives, while providing customer with the seamless and responsive online travel experience. Right. So in conclusion, I would conclude that the cloud migration is quite a crucial approach that can help organization of all sizes to achieve their goals, and whether that is about to reducing cost or increasing agility or scalability and all that. However, it's important to approach migration with a solid strategy and a roadmap. Now you have to have a very concrete plan before you proceed, so that you can understand the benefit, risk, and practices that are involved. Right. So throughout this presentation, we have covered some key considerations and steps involved for a successful migration, which included assessing, designing, configuring, validating, and managing the cloud infra after the migration, post the migration, and just keep it up and running. So I hope this presentation has been informative and very useful for you. And if you have any questions, or would like to discuss about specific migration needs in more detail, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or my team. I mean, we are here to help you to achieve the successful migration. And thank you for your attention, and best luck with the cloud migration journey. So if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section.
Hey, thanks, Vishal. It was really an informative session. I hope all of our attendees have got an idea about the different cloud migration strategies. The session is open for Q&A. Feel free to post your questions in the Q&A section. Vishal, we already have a question which I will read out for you. The question is from Shweta. She is asking, what are some of the most common challenges that organizations face during a cloud migration?
Okay, so the most common, I mean, I would put it like this: like most common challenges includes managing the complexity of the migration process itself, right? So you have to be very careful about the plan that you are going to execute while migrating, ensuring data security and compliance requirements are met, and you are reaching the cost and budget that is assigned to the migration. And however, by having a solid strategy and roadmap in the place, I mean, if you have a partner to work with who has expertise with the migration, these challenges can be definitely managed and mitigated. So these were some basic, these are some usual challenges that any business has while while migrating to cloud.
Thanks, Vishal.
Yeah, thanks, Sona.
There are no more questions. I think we can conclude the session. Thank you all for attending the session. We help enterprises resolve their challenges and speed up the transition to the cloud with our cloud migration strategies. By use of our skills, expertise, and latest technologies, we craft the best migration approach that works for you. Our migration services offering involves assessment of workloads to identify cloud readiness for application migration through planning, validation, and implementation, even of large-scale migrations. Be it infrastructure migration, application migration, or database migration, we ensure that you embark on a smooth cloud migration journey and meet the migration requirements at your enterprises. Currently, we are offering a free migration assessment for all sizes of business. Do take advantage of it. Do contact us as sales@cloud.in to discuss your migration needs. And thank you again. Have a great day. Thanks, Vishal. Thanks, Kutuja.
Yeah, thanks, Sona.
Thank you.